Hakioi listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me at X or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. Also on YouTube. Certainly any video episodes you'll find on YouTube as well as the audio for those who don't wish to watch the video. Here I am back in Australia finally. A few prearranged travels have certainly interrupted my sumo. Also added to sumo in Japan certainly in the past few months, but we are back to normal schedule from here. A lot to catch up on from days 3 to day 6. So let's get started. So what can we say about the Basho so far? November Kyushu Basho, I say hot and cold. Hoshoyu and Takanosho, who were both decidedly lukewarm, if not outright cold last tournament, seem to have found themselves in a hot start this week. Kirishima, who was hot last tournament, seems to be utterly freezing cold so far. After a winless first 5 days, he finally notched a win last night, day 6, but with a sting in the tail of a possible ankle injury. So let's get through and have a quick look at days 3, 4, 5, and 6. Day 3 saw Onosato face Shodai after his loss to a strong Oho on day 2, if we remember. He made sure of it and obliterated Shodai from the tachi for an oshidashi using the same technique from September where he gets both arms up under his opponent and drives them up and back. Oshidashi win there. Shodai didn't watch my review from last tournament, obviously, or he would have learnt something. Anyway, Oho, he demonstrated his strength against Kotozakura on day 3. Kotozakura, he chased him around the ring and tried to assert his dominance using that famous mobile balance he has, but Oho kept up the pressure and forced Kotozakura back and out after a few exchanges. Some really good strength there. Hoshoryu, he hit Hiradumi hard at the tachi. Hiradumi tried to slap down, but it was done and dusted there. Hoshoryu for the oshidashi, very ineffective by Hiradumi. Kirishima, he continued his poor start on day 3 against a motivated and strong Arby. Arby seemed annoyed about his performance in September. He has had all the anger to go with it. Arby waited a bit at the tachi, a little bit unusual for him. He tried to slap down, didn't make it work. Kirishima went forward, but Arby reacquired his target and oshidashi'd Kirishima out fairly easily. Atami Fuji, he's on a bit of a roll so far. Day 3, he faced Daisho, the threshing machine. He got up into his face, tried to shut down the Sapari thrusts by Daisho. Daisho got a couple of thrusts going, but Atami Fuji, he stepped in, monstered Daisho back and over the bales. Seems to be the way to deal with our threshing machine Daisho, to be honest. Get in, get up in his face and monster him back. Certainly Atami has the bulk to do that. Daisho, he does have the belt ability, so some fairly poor tactics there from him, couldn't adapt. Wakamoto Haru, he had an interesting battle against Ura. Ura got in low, as usual, and had his head up under Wakamoto Haru's armpit. Really nearly led to a headlock where Wakamoto Haru probably could have tried to choke him out, if anything. But in the end, Ura was trying for this reverse, almost kimono string drop kimarite, almost a backwards drop. But Wakamoto Haru, he had enough balance at the right moment to stay upright as Ura dropped to the deck. Oshi Tayoshi pushdown. Look, it was probably worth a try by Ura. He was trying for something. It just didn't come off on the day. Match of the day, day 3, however, was Shishi, our Ukrainian, and Onokatsu. Epic battle, both on the belt. The Gyoji had to pause the battle halfway through to tie a Mawashi. Look, they both got a really good tachi. Ended up on an inside and outside belt grip on each other. Real tussle around the dohyo as they struggled to gain dominance. But Onokatsu, he kept a really deep rear grip, which just undid Shishi's belt a little bit. Shishi got pushed right back to the bales, somehow survived with the daintiest little dance across the Tawara bales to get himself back in. Some really good defense there. Anyway, as his belt got undone, they were struggling in the middle. The Gyoji, he tapped them and stopped the fight, restarted after a bit of a retie. They both continued to battle it out as Shishi pushed Onakatsu back to the bales. Onakatsu, he recovered as they both tried to throw each other, but I think a worn-out Shishi, he finally succumbed to a throw. Almost a collapse on the Tawara bales to give Onakatsu an Uwatanage win there for Onakatsu over Shishi. Anyway, day 4 we move on to had Korazakura facing Wakataka Kage. Korazakura got up under Wakataka Kage's left shoulder really fast off the tachiai, controlled him back and over the ring, over the edge, just too quick, too much balance for a very strong Wakataka Kage. Hoshoryu, he faced Ura. Ura went hard and low as usual as Hoshoryu took the hit, reset, got hold of the back of his Mawashi to pull Ura through and throw him down forward. It was almost you would think a Watadashinage, but they called it which is the open belt throw, but it was an Watanage throw on underarm grip throw on the belt was the call in the end. Onosato faced the motivated Arby. Some excellent tactics by Arby. He went in hard with the double Nodowa neck thrust, retreated back to the bales and got his arm under Onosato's shoulder, executed a brilliant Kotanage arm lock throw to launch Onosato over the edge. Look, I thought it was a Kotanage. They ended up calling it a Sukinage beltless arm body throw. Either way, it worked. Daisho, he handed a loss to Oho by just using his power and thrusting and force to get Oho back and over. Easy does it, Oshidashi for Daisho there. Kirishima, he was in all sorts of trouble looking for a win on day 4 against Wakamoto Haru. He tried to keep Wakamoto Haru off his inside belt and tied up his arms as Wakamoto Haru, he worked hard to push him back to the bales. Kirishima tried to execute a Sukinage or a Kotanage arm throw, but he just lost the grip at the last moment, turned over the bales himself. Good pressure from Wakamoto Haru there, Oshidashi. Look, whatever is going on with Kirishima, it doesn't seem to be working. So, maybe new coaching relationship, trying to get it right. Anyway, same could be said for Hiradumi this tournament. Whatever he's doing is not working. He seems late to the tachiai, very slow. And what comes after as Shodai just monstered him from the start. Oshi dashed him straight back and out. It's not the first time this tournament. Takeda Fuji, he's working away at the bottom of the Megashira ranks after his day 2 blip. He got a win over Kageyaki on day 3, not unexpected. Standard power drive win there for him. Bushozan was a similar effort on day 4 for him as well. Day 5 for Takeda Fuji, that was a bit of a different story against the big man Shonanumi. Sho, being the bigger man, took the first hit, backed away for a hard charging Takeda Fuji, executed a Hatakikomi slapdown. These big hard charges like Hiradumi, Ura, and Takeda Fuji, they do suffer from that weakness if they get their head down too far, too committed. Takeda Fuji will be quite unhappy with 2 losses this low down on the Bansuke. On to day 5, as I said, Hoshoryu and Wakataka Kage, they faced off at the top. Hoshoryu seems to have his angry face back. He's firing on all cylinders. He's got his real angry face on at the moment. Did a big double Nodowa and then backed off, allowing Wakataka Kage to drive him back as he went for an outside up arm grip on Wakataka Kage's left arm. Once he got his arm around it, he wrapped up the arm and used it to pull a throwing Kotanage arm lock on Wakataka Kage, sending him flying. Wakataka Kage, he did have that hand on the back of Hoshoryu's belt with the same arm, but he couldn't even stop that from happening with that grip. So a really good throw, and Hoshoryu, he is known well for his good throws. Onosato, he has been burnt by a couple of losses. He faced Atami Fuji. I think this is one of his better wins so far this tournament on day 5. He didn't get a good grip, and he had to change a little bit on the move, trying to get a decent grip, but he still managed to get momentum and drive Atami Fuji back and over. Good balance, good strength for an Oshidashi there. Korazakura, he faced Ura on day 5. Good solid forward sumo by Korazakura for an easy Oshidashi there. And again, Kirishima, I'm not sure what to say about him. He didn't look injured. It was he faced up against Oho. It was quite a thrusting and slapping affair against Oho, which I thought he had one at one point, and I think Kirishima thought he had one, only for Oho to recover. It seems like he kind of just gave up at that one point in the middle. In the end, Kirishima, he went forward for another thrusting hit, kind of lost his footing and balance under pressure, going down face first. The Gyoji says a Hiki Atoshi pull down, so obviously Oho must have got an arm somewhere in there. Daiyosho, he notched up another win against Shodai on day 5. Blink and you miss it, Oshidashi. Shodai not having a good time of it. Abi kept up his charge against Tsurunumi, a big double Nodowa thrusting hit out for a Tsukidashi thrust out win. Takanosho, he sat undefeated at the end of day 5 after his win on Oshoma. Oshoma tried his best to chase Takanosho, but he withdrew and took a Hataki Komi slapdown. Really good bout between Tobizaru and Koto Shoho on day 5. Tobizaru, he changed tactics a little bit, tried to get in close with Koto Shoho. Wasn't his usual arm's length slapping and thrusting. They grappled for a while as they tried to get a grip before Tobizaru got a double inside body grip. A very unusual tactic from him. Koto Shoho was holding Tobizaru's arms. Bit of a short stalemate as Koto Shoho tried to do what Hoshoryu did to Wakataka Kage and Kotonage him. But Tobizaru, he'd converted one arm grip to the rear of Koto Shoho's belt, kept it to pull Koto Shoho over for a fairly spectacular Shitatanage overarm belt grip throw on the bigger man. A good win there from Tobizaru. Midori Fuji, day 5, he executed another Karasakashi, this time on the bear Takayasu. Bit of a lean week for Midori Fuji so far. Takayasu now and then both on 2 and 3 after day 5. Midori Fuji, he got him in under the shoulder as quickly as possible, then did a big reversal, pulling the slower Takayasu, putting pressure on his shoulder as he went down, and that is the trick with that Karasakashi. Get the hand under it and then go backwards as quick as possible to try and force that pressure on the shoulder and bring the person down. Day 6 last night was a good night of wrestling. Wakataka Kage up against Onosato. Big touchy eye. Wakataka Kage tried to get into the belt fast. Onosato kept him off the belt as best he could. And then Wakataka Kage put him under pressure. Onosato strangely went backwards and Wakataka Kage pretty much just chased him out. Oshidashi win there. A little bit unusual from Onosato. Not a great tactic. Got them both to 4 and 2. Abi tried his patented double Nodowa neck thrusts, but Kodazakura, he just absorbed them, proceeded to chase and harass Abi until he left the ring backwards. Excellent balance and movement from Kodazakura there, looking better. Atami Fuji and Hoshoryu, well, Hoshoryu, his murder face, it is on. Massive tachi-eye by Hoshoryu on Atami Fuji. Atami Fuji drove him back to the bales. It was super close as Hoshoryu went backwards. Atami Fuji touched out with his toes before Hoshoryu. He left the dohyo. He had an ankle foot down on the bales. Look, the judges, the Gyoji called it for Hoshoryu. The judges, the Shimpan judges, they stood up for a mono-e. Replay showed Hoshoryu still had his heel on the Tawara bales as Atami Fuji's toes touched out. Look, it would be hard to call a dead body on Hoshoryu for that if he's still touching, still had a foot on the bales. He wasn't airborne. Could he recover from that position? Probably not, but neither could Atami Fuji. So the Gunbai did go to Hoshoryu. The mono-e confirmed it. A great call by the Gyoji there. It's a very unusual Kimarite for that one. It was an Isa Miyashi to drive the opponent to the edge of the ring, but with too much momentum that you step out unintentionally yourself. So pretty much an unintentional step out because of your momentum. Hoshoryu in imperious form so far, 6 and 0. Daiyosho versus Tsurunumi. Tsurunumi, he got a full thrusting battle with Daiyosho. They exchanged some hits. Tsurunumi missed the belt, went in hard, exchanged hits, but Daisho, he was a bit overcommitted as Churunumi gives him a backslap on the way down. Churunumi takes the win, Hataki Komi. Kirishima, look, they both got onto the belt. Kirishima versus Hirodumi. They both got onto the belt. They struggled to the bales as Kirishima got a pull down. Hirodumi went over the bales as Kirishima jumped, but he landed badly on his ankle. It appears he's got a bit of a slight sprain. He really struggled to kneel down to take the envelopes. He did limp off. Hopefully not too serious, just a bit of a light sprain, some good taping and strapping. Shitata Dashinage pulling underarm throw there. Kirishima did take that win, and that gets him to 1-5 with Hirodumi, both on 1-5. Not going well in the joy meat grinder for Hirodumi. Wakamoto Haru versus Shodai. Shodai, he drove Wakamoto Haru back to the bales, usually Wakamoto Haru's strong defensive position, but he disengaged just as Wakamoto Haru did his big drive. Wakamoto Haru got pulled down with a big tug on the arm, not even, no real chance of Wakamoto Haru there. He did a bit of a somersault to recover. Hiki Itoshi pulled down. Ura and Oho, big thrusting battle. Ura went low. They both went at it thrusting. Ura got pushed back, but he defended. He came back as Oho went for the thrust. But Ura, and he's done this before, he did it in the last tournament, he dipped under, got around, and went around the back of Oho for the Oshidashi. It was a really good dip, and, Ura's opponents, they really do need to keep an eye out for that dipping move. What else did we see? Mitakayumi versus Koto Shoho. Koto Shoho drove Mitakayumi in a bit of a driving run, but Mitakayumi at the last moment pulled Koto Shoho around. Suki Itoshi, good little body throw, thrust down as they went over at the bales, but unfortunately Mitakayumi, he dropped hard on the floor at the foot of Oho. It took all the Oyakatas and the medical assistant to get Mitakayumi stretch it off. Look, he's either got a dislocated shoulder or, I would hope not, a busted shoulder. He did look like he was in quite some pain. The only good thing was there that Mitakayumi won that bout, Suki Itoshi. Tobizaru, first meeting with Roga. They met and got into a bit of an arm wrangle before Tobizaru got a grab and forced Roga down Oshitayoshi. Midori Fuji got an excellent win over Endo. Both ended up with a bit of a one-arm belt grip off the tachiai. Midori Fuji got inside right and Endo and outside left. They got to a bit of a stalemate as Midori Fuji used his left arm to prevent a right inside belt grip from Endo. Midori Fuji, he pulled back, got a bit of a leg trip going, converted to a double inside belt grip, and then used all his power and, a little pocket rocket, pushed Endo to the bales, Endo tried to grab his neck, but he couldn't resist as Midori Fuji gets a Yorikiri, something different. The other one, let's go. Good bout there by Sadanumi versus Takara Fuji. They both went for the belt. Sadanumi, he lost the grip, tried to get back on. Takara Fuji got the grip, drove him back to the bales, but Sadanumi resisted. Takara Fuji tried to force him over and finally gets him. Takara Fuji got on the deflection, which led to the belt drive. That was the winning move. So a good win there by Takara Fuji. So our leaders up to day 6, Hoshoryu on 6-0. Onakatsu, who's down the bottom of the Bunsuke in Magashira, he's yet to face anyone above Magashira 14. He's also on 6-0, so pressure will come this weekend for him. Our 5-1s, Kodazakura, Takanosho, and Mitakayumi, who I doubt we'll see today, if not for the rest of the Basho, and also Gonayama doing well this tournament. 4-2s, our Ozeki Onosato, Wakatakakage, Abi, Atami Fuji, Tobizaru, Ichi Yamamoto, who seems to have his drive back off the tachiai, and Takeda Fuji, probably a bit unhappy to be 4-2, if I'm honest. Those in trouble, Kirishima with 1 win, Hirodumi, Oshoma, Kuroshoho, Nishikigi, Hokuto Fuji, and the struggling Bushozan, all with 1 win. So day 7, we'll see Kodazakura and Atami Fuji. Abi versus Hoshoryu, both fired up. That will be a good match. Ura, the wiggly Ura, versus Onosato, Kitashima with the sore ankle and Shodai, Hirodumi versus Daisho. I would think Daisho should win that fairly easily. And the Waka brothers, Wakamoto Haru versus Oho, big strong Oho. I would hope that Wakamoto Haru could win that. And Wakataka Kage should easily deal with Oshoma, who's also struggling so far. So a great week of sumo so far. Leading into the weekend, I'll try to update you all after Sunday night's matches, but I will likely be doing some commentary on Sunday night, so it may be a little bit of a short effort. We'll see how we can go. If you want to join me on the commentary, it is Sunday morning sumo on YouTube with Goose and JJ. Depends on who turns up, usually Goose. It's usually a bit of fun. We try and do our best and lead you through the sumo. So enjoy the rest of the tournament, everyone. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.